Long before everybody was flocking to arcades to beat up their friends in Street Fighter 2, we were all battling for points in single-screen action games like Mario Brothers, Bobble, and Snow Bros. The new game Robbotto feels like a throwback to that specific era of arcade game, complete with simple 8-bit graphics, a chip-tuned soundtrack, and plenty of loot to steal from the other player. The result is a charming little action game that almost has enough momentum to keep it afloat for 100 stages. What we have here is a cross between Bobble and Lode Runner. You control either Rob or Otto, a couple of maintenance robots who are on a mission to save their gigantic space cruiser. When a ship went through a magnetic storm, it seemingly brought all the machines to life and made them go crazy. Now it's up to these two unlikely heroes to battle through 100 retro-themed stages in order to disable all of the malfunctioning machines. You do this by shooting the bad guys with a burst of energy and then shorting them out by spraying them down with water. It's not enough to simply zap or spray them, since they'll quickly recover from the blast and the water doesn't do anything on its own. The trick is to shoot them first and then short-circuit their electricity before they have a chance to get away. Now, this is made trickier by Rob and Otto's limited moves. Beyond their electricity and water attacks, they really don't have much else to offer. There's no double jump, ducking, slide moves, or really anything fancy, just a gun, hose, and a standard jump. It's the kind of simple action game you'd expect to see as an arcade cabinet at the local 7-Eleven in 1986. And that's the thing. I went into this game a little worried that it was going to be too simple. The first few stages were so painfully easy that I wondered if there'd be enough to keep me interested for 100 stages. It was slow, there weren't many enemies, and nothing about it seemed even remotely challenging. But this was the game lulling me into a false sense of confidence, because Robbotto ramps up the difficulty in a big way. You'll go from easily racing through the early stages to dying countless times on the trickier platforming puzzles. The slower pace and limited gameplay forces you to plan out each attack and stay protected from enemy fire. Almost all of the challenge comes from the new enemies the game throws at you. The deadly machines come in all shapes and sizes, each with their own quirks to memorize. You'll find enemies that are aggressive when they see you, will run away if you get close, will roll up into a little ball, and will shoot in all directions. There's even a machine that looks exactly like Nintendo's robotic operating buddy and can resurrect downed bad guys. You'll also run into 10 challenging boss battles, though I found that most of them were surprisingly easy to take down. Now, despite the game ramping up the difficulty, I never felt that it became frustrating or unfair. This is a challenging game designed for those of us who grew up with this style of classic platformer, and I like it for that reason. Unfortunately, part of me wishes that there was more to see and do here. The simplistic gameplay started to weigh things down after a while, to the point where I started to lose a lot of my enthusiasm in the second half. I had a hard time shaking the idea that I've seen a lot of this before, though it certainly handled well here. There's nothing inherently bad about this game, I just found that I grew bored of the formula long before it ended. Rubato is a solid little platformer that evokes the spirit of 8-bit classics like Bobble and Lode Runner. It's a simplistic throwback that doesn't veer too far from the tried and true formula, which can be both a good and bad thing at times. The result is a fun game that almost has enough momentum to carry it through to the end. Whether it's with a friend or solo, you can do a whole lot worse than Rubato. Hey, thanks for watching our review. So here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite video game robot? This is a huge category that includes everything from Mega Man to Chibi Robo to every character in Rise 2 The Resurrection. Okay, maybe that last one isn't going to get a whole lot of love, but the point is that there's a lot to choose from. I can't wait to see your picks in the comments below. In other news, I'm currently hard at work on a bunch of reviews, including Yakuza Kiwami 2. We'll be back next week with a new episode of Game Over, the early years, as well as more reviews. So I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,